was naughty then, no snotty then, sweats no pockets then, sweating no problems then.
What's up everybody, I'm Fox, back to bring you the latest in-game news, and sadly another studio and its staff are being laid off due to poor performance of their latest game release. Reported via Eurogamer.net, here's the full story. So it's been quite a tough ride for ex-Sony first-party studio Team Evo, sadly due to the lower than expected sales performance for the studio's latest game release, OnRush. The developer of Drive Club has been hit hard by layoffs. It appears the layoffs affect staff from the top down. Drive Club and OnRush director Paul Rushinsky, the face of both games and the studio itself, is among those let go. Multiple sources close to the studio have confirmed to Eurogamer alongside other senior members of the team. Previously known as Evolution Studios, the UK-based developer was acquired by Codemasters back in 2016 after former owner Sony decided to part ways with the studio, likely over the somewhat troubled launch of PS4 driving race title Drive Club. Now, Eurogamer spoke with an anonymous source close to the situation, describing the studio as having been decapitated by these redundancies, with senior staff and lead creators fired or required to re-interview for positions, although some junior staff are also affected. Sources said the feeling among remaining staff was the team would now work as a support studio for other Codemasters titles or on less risky projects. Others mentioned long-term problems and the lack of communication between Evolution team and the wider Codemasters entity it found itself part of. OnRush launched for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on the 5th of June and quickly sank from the UK physical chart without a trace. It initially charted in 34th place during its launch week, then pretty much disappeared altogether. According to the source, OnRush sold just over 1,000 physical copies during its launch week in the UK. The fact that it never appeared in the chart after that week did not go down well with publisher Codemasters. Here's a quote. "It is normal course of business for game teams to evolve as projects launch and move into service and as other new projects start. As such, it isn't appropriate to comment on day-to-day movement of staff changes," a Codemasters spokesperson told Eurogamer. OnRush's planned scheduled release of post-release content will not be affected by these layoffs, the publisher has confirmed. That's always a terrible situation for all involved, particularly those who are now out of a job. Obviously, I'm sure most of you out there will agree. We wish those laid off and the families affected all the best for the future. It really is a tough situation. And in other news, Games UK price gouging the limited edition Marvel Spider-Man PS4 Pro console has left many in the game community thinking it's a disgrace. Courtesy of lootgaming.com, here's the full story. So Spider-Man and PlayStation fans alike rejoiced when the limited edition console bundles were announced for the upcoming PS4 exclusive Marvel's Spider-Man. The console is beautiful and it would be something amazing for any fan to get their hands on. If you live in the USA, you'll have already seen the PS4 Pro version retail for around $399. Now the exact same price as a regular PS4 Pro bundle, which is great. However, if you live in the UK, you'll have had no such luck. The country's #1 video game retailer Game is the only place you can purchase the consoles in the UK, and Game is taking full advantage of that. The design is simple yet elegant, nothing is over the top or flashy, and it immediately conveys what the franchise really is all about and linked to. You would be forgiven for being desperate to rush out and pre-order this immediately, but I headed to the local game store to inquire and was told that they had really 6 PS4 Pro consoles available to pre-order and 6 Slims, definitely a limited edition then. So I asked to pre-order the Pro and was quoted £404.99. Initially I thought it was kinda odd to have to pay more than our American cousins, but this amounts to around $530 US. I asked why it was priced so, and this is what Game UK offered me. So for the £405 bundle, Game are really forcing a £27 UK Turtle Beach headset on players. For the ridiculous £450 version, you'll get a £70 headset. Now the bundles cost £378 or £380 respectively if you deduct the headset costs. Now by throwing in these extra objects, Game are able to inflate the price of the consoles that they know fans are pretty much desperate for. Bundling headsets instead of figures related to the franchise, guides, or even other PS4 games is what makes the bundles so egregious. Now Game know they have a product fans are willing to go all out for and are showing their willingness to take advantage of those fans. It really is a shameful tactic. Game always had a reputation in the UK for overcharging due to the competition from supermarkets such as Amazon, Smiths and Argos, and more. There's always been a cheaper option to negate this issue. However, the bundle being exclusive to the game retailer puts them in a position of power that is impossible to contend with. You can't even walk into a store and pre-order the console standalone. You'll have a Turtle Beach headset forced on you. Now, employees will probably suffer complaints about the decisions made by upper management in order to take advantage of fans of this massive franchise. It really shows why Game are currently suffering, and with antics like this, it's difficult for the game community to have any, if little, sympathy for the company. And in other news, reported by website highlypixelated.com, Shenmue 3's funding has managed to reach $7 million with new details regarding the game's fight battle system. Here's the full story. So Shenmue 3's funding on both Kickstarter, then later through the game's official website with the Slacker Backer campaign, has finally reached the 7 million goal, which means that another stretch goal has also been met. This stretch goal means that the battle system will now be expanded with AI battling. According to the official post, this control system will let players automatically unleash the perfect techniques in accordance with your opponent's positioning and distance from your character. Apparently this system is based on developer Yu Suzuki's concept for players who are not accustomed to fighting games. This system is compatible with and will act as an extension to the battle system that has been implemented into the game thus far. Also, if the crowdfunding campaign manages to reach $7.5 million, there's still another extension to the battle system that will be implemented, the High Ground battle system. We also recently learned that system requirements for the game, which themselves are not too demanding. What is surprising, however, is that it does require 100 gigabytes of storage space to run, which is more than the amount that most AAA games require these days. Now, Shenmue 1 and 2 remasters will be released on August 21st on PS4, Xbox One and PC platforms, so that should pretty much get you all caught up with this saga and tide you over until Shenmue 3 drops. Now, before I go, I just want to provide a quick update on Microsoft's plans really to take on Sony's PS5 in the next gen, not with one but two Xbox devices for next gen, and one of them is far closer than you think. Courtesy of GamingBowl.com. Project Xbox Scarlett, the codename for Microsoft's next-gen console as well. The company plans to include a new traditional console, as well as a cloud gaming solution and hardware. Some word has already leaked on Xbox Scarlett, a family of next-generation Xbox devices that will act as the successor to the Xbox One line. However, the specifics have remained unclear until now. Well, Brad Sams of Thorot, the man who leaked Scarlett to begin with, has more details on what we can expect from Microsoft's next generation efforts. First things first, there will be a traditional next generation Xbox console. The specs on this device are unclear as of now, given that it is early in development. And for those who might be worried, it is important to remember Phil Spencer announced at E3 that the same team that designed the Xbox One X will be designing the successor, so we can expect similar sensibilities to transfer over. Now, the second console in this family of devices is far more interesting. See, it's a lower priced option and entirely reliant on the cloud streaming game service Microsoft announced at E3, which apparently also has the internal codename Scarlett. The reason this box exists at all for a cloud solution is to counter the problems with latency, which have traditionally been the biggest roadblock really with cloud gaming, let's be honest. Now, apparently the cloud version of the console will exist to handle some processing locally, with some speculative processing done to handle really the controller input, image processing and collision detection, all things that add to the most latency if really processed remotely via the cloud. This means the box will have some local hardware, but it will be able to ship for a far cheaper price than the traditional Xbox console presumably will sell for. This is in many ways very similar to what Microsoft tried with the Xbox One to begin with back in 2013, but there are two crucial differences. Firstly, the technology is now better than it was back then to handle something like this, though we are still not at the point where a digital-only console is truly feasible. And secondly, this time for those players who don't want a cloud solution, Microsoft is providing the option to go to the traditional gaming route instead, which is nice. So they're offering a choice, which is something they never offered with the original Xbox One, at least initially, which was why there was such severe backlash against it. Microsoft taking away user choice, never a good thing. Now, to see how the market responds to them this time is what we'll all await on. But Do share your thoughts and opinions on today's news stories, because that unfortunately brings us to the end of another video, but let's continue the discussion in the video comments. And for more PS4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch news, subscribe to FOXY Games UK, hit the notification bell so you never miss content, thumbs up if you liked the video, and help us reach more like-minded gamers simply by sharing this video. And for just $1 or £1 UK, you consider supporting FOXY Games UK Patreon and help us grow. You'll find a link in this video's description. Thanks for your kind support. And there we have it. Until tomorrow, always remember, play games, not corporations.